I would like to welcome and to invite our second presenter, Hashini Silva from Sri Lanka. The floor is yours. Please start with your presentation.
Well, good afternoon, respectable professors and the most venerable Dr. Omalpe Sobitanaikathero, the other respectable venerables and respectable professors from Shukutoku University as well as from the other universities, and fellow researchers from Vietnam, Japan, Mongolia, Thailand, and India, and I guess we have from USA as well. So welcome all of you for this conference as well as my presentation. I hope I'm audible enough. Well, I'm taking this opportunity to share the research finding on the analysis of the Bodhiraja Foundation's contribution to the advancement of education. So moving to the introduction. Well, let me give a brief introduction about the research background. This research data was mainly gathered by the Sri Lankan research team that spent like 3 days extensively in the field, and mostly we were able to collect the data through the in-depth interviews and focus group discussions, and then observation and transect work also have been applied. So during my presentation, I'm mainly focusing on the advancement of social work education and the contribution of Sri Bodhiraja Foundation to the progress of education. So now when I discuss about this Bodhiraja Foundation's education, there are mainly 4 categories that I'm planning to discuss under my presentation. They are religious education, formal education, vocational education, and then special education. So taking the first one, religious education provided by the Bodhiraja Foundation, mainly there are 2 categories which coming under this religious education. The first one is the Bodhiraja Dharmayatana Monk Training Center. Even most venerable Dr. Omalpe Sobitanaikathero as well as venerable Dr. Omalpe Somanandathero also have mentioned about this Buddhist monk training center. And then the second one, which is coming under this religious education, is that Sri Bodhiraja Daham, or in other words, the Sunday school. Well, it is kind of a Sunday school network system that they are having. And moving to the second point, which is about the formal education. Again, there are 2 types of formal education that we could identify through our field research. The first one is Sri Bodhiraja College, which was established back in 2002, which provides the formal education from grade 1 to grade 13. And then the second one is early childhood education centers. In other words, the preschool centers, they have kind of like preschool network system, which run under this Bodhiraja Foundation. So those are the 2 categories which could be identified under the formal education. Moving to discuss about the third point, which I have mentioned here, vocational education. Under vocational education, again, we were able to identify 2 main categories. The first, vocational training, actually they were catering about the, they were mainly focusing on the children who are not being able to competent enough to go through with the government examinations, in the sense those who have failed the government examinations, but still.
Hashini, I'm very sorry interrupting you. Could you please a little bit improve your microphone settings or something, because your voice is interrupted sometimes. Maybe.
Is that so? Am I audible enough now?
Oh, now it's better, much better.
Okay, right.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Well, sorry for the inconvenience. So moving to the third one, which is about the vocational education. So in the vocational education, they have again two main categories. So the first one, which coming under the vocational training, is that they provide the vocational training for the differently abled children. That is one category. And the second category that they are focusing is that the children who have different talents, different abilities, but still they have not been competent enough to go through with the government examinations. So they are the two main categories that the Bodhiraja Foundation is focusing under this vocational education. Moving to the last category under education, that is special education. Even the first speaker mentioned about the special education. So here again, there are two types of special education centers we identified. One is formal education schools. So for identified physically and mentally impaired children, formal education is being provided in the school setting. So that is one thing which is coming under this special education. And the second category which we identified under this special education is that it's a special education center called Kalabala Bindu Education Service, that which is mainly focusing on the children who have hyperactive behavior. So these are the main four categories which are coming under the education, and then I'm taking the opportunity to discuss about these items in details.
Actually, again, I'm very sorry about that. Still, we had some problems with your audio, with your voice. I'm very sorry about that. Interrupting again and again. Could you please take a microphone or put your microphone just in front of you?
Okay. Am I audible enough now?
Are you using a smartphone or
no, I'm using my laptop actually.
A laptop. Okay. So maybe there is a distance between you and your microphone.
Okay.
So
am I?
Yeah.
Am I audible enough now?
Is it better?
How about now?
It's please say something.
Okay. Am I audible enough now?
Much better. Yeah.
Okay.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So sorry for the inconvenience.
Yeah. We got feedback also from our interpreters, so it's better. So I would like to ask you to keep the short distance between your laptop's microphone and and I'm
okay.
Thank you for your understanding.
Right. Okay. So then I'm taking the opportunity to discuss about the first fact, the Bodhiraja Dharmayatana Monk Training Center. Well, so this was started back in 1988, and currently there are 73 noise monks who are getting the service under this training center. The significant fact which I would like to highlight here is that this is not only for the Buddhist monks, but for the children who are coming from the vulnerable families, that whom we can concern as coming from the oppressed community, who are economically vulnerable children, also getting the education assistance from this training center. So mainly their objective is to train Buddhist monks to assist and contribute to the community, provide their service in the community in much more a better manner. So with that purpose, they have started this particular education center for the Buddhist monks. So this program is conducted on a kind of a schedule that runs daily from morning 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. 10 p.m. So the day begins with yoga, meditation, and Buddha worship. While environmental cleanliness and stewardship are essential practices that we could see in that training program, so the Buddhist monks also train for the external activities and fulfill the various needs of Buddhist society without being limited to classroom-based education and being limited to the book knowledge. So this is one of the most important facts that we would like to highlight here, during our visit to this particular place, that we were able to see that they were engaged in many outreach programs as well. So I would like to highlight here the Bodhiraj Foundation is providing student-based learning system, as well as through the outreach programs, they're providing the practical education. I guess in Venerable Dr. Omar Peso Bisathero's presentation itself, he mentioned about that the education is knowledge and practice. So being truthful for that to the motto which he mentioned. So they were giving many orientation for the Buddhist monks to be engaged in the community activities. If I mention a few examples, such as like they are taking these Buddhist monks along with the youth in the community to visit the vulnerable communities in the remote areas, and also identify their needs and to learn like what sort of approach should be taken to address the needs of them, as well as also taking the opportunity to visit the hospitals who are again, who are vulnerable in the hospital and to assist them. So in such way, the Bodhiraj Foundation is taking such initiatives to help these Buddhist monks as well as the other people to identify who are the vulnerable people and what sort of approach should be taken to address their needs and how they should be assessed. So these are the things that I would like to highlight under this Buddhist monk training program. Moving to discuss about the Sri Bodhiraj Dham Sunday School, which is again concerned as one of the main and the major important thing. The foundation conducts actually 5 Sunday schools, not only in this relevant Ambilipitia area, where the main foundation is established. They have this Sunday school network actually within the other cities as well. So this is again one of the significant facts that we were able to identify, that they are being connected with the other communities, that they are being connected with the other temples. And if they identify, okay, there are some temples in some other areas which they don't have this Sunday school system. So this Bodhiraj Foundation is taking the initiative to establish Sunday school to the temples in the other areas as well. This is actually be concerned as one of the a wonderful task conducted by this Bodhiraj Foundation.
Oh, Hashini, again, we got again the problem with your sound. Do you have, for example, a lined microphone like this?
No,
Actually, because last time when we had a meeting, there was no problem at all, and your voice was clear. So I didn't expect we will have troubles during the seminar. So if you have no microphone, maybe you can switch your video, your camera off, and just talk in a very short distance.
Okay. Am I audible enough?
Better. Yes. Let's try it.
Am I audible enough now to conduct the presentation?
I hope so. I hope so. Please,
okay.
Let's try.
Okay. So that's about the Sri Bodhiraj Dham Sunday School, and then moving to discuss about the other one, which is about the formal education. So under formal education, as I have mentioned earlier, there are 2 types of formal educational systems that are provided. One is international schools, and the other one is the early childhood education system. So if I mention about this international school, let me explain the rationale behind the starting this international schools in such area like Ambilipitia, concerned as one of the remote areas in So if we refer the Colombo area or the urban areas, children are getting enough and more facilities and the opportunities to be learned in English medium. with reference to the remote areas, children, they don't get enough opportunities to study in English medium, which is concerned with the global language. So, considering about that need, Motiraj Foundation was able to establish an international school, uh, which was approved by the government. And currently, there are like more than 1,000 students from grade 1 to advanced level are studying under this place. Then the significant fact that I would like to highlight here, this international school, again, it's not only focusing about providing the book knowledge to the children, but inculcating the cultural values and the Buddhist philosophy are deteriorating in our society nowadays. These are the main things that they are focusing on the formal education. Then moving to discuss about the preschool network. Why I'm mentioning this as a network system, they have actually many preschools. One, actually, they have an international preschool with like around 300 children, as well as they have local preschool systems as well. There are many preschools, if I'm not mistaken, there are like 5 preschools around the area. So they're working as a kind of a network, we could see there. And when we visited these preschools, what we were able to see actually, in this preschool early childhood education, the Bodhiraj Foundation is not just only focusing the providing education for the children, but rather beyond that, they mainly focusing on cultivating the cultural values. So with the activities that they have implemented, such as like they have implemented some parental worshipping programs and tree planting programs, Buddha worshipping programs. By looking into such things that we were able to identify, this Bodhiraj Foundation is trying to provide strong value foundation from childhood onwards. So they are not just being limited to the book knowledge, but they are trying to provide much more practical knowledge with what the children could be nourished. So moving to discuss about the vocational training provided by the Bodhiraj Foundation. As I mentioned earlier, this vocational training assets actually school leavers who were not able to be competent enough to go through or the pass the government examination, but those who have technical skills. So identifying such youth, the Bodhiraj Foundation was able to provide various opportunities for them to be acquainted with certain skills and the abilities. For an example, they provide safety skills and they provide sewing skills, as well as provide some carpentering courses and English courses. So such like that, they help these children to be motivated, because I mean, if these children are being left, they could be engaged in other sort of activities in the community, and they could even be economically deprived, and with regard to that, youth unrest could be arise. So while focusing on that particular fact, the Bodhiraj Foundation was able to identify the youth who are in need of mastering the skills. They were catering them and providing services for their upliftment. And the other one which I would like to highlight, the significant fact is that the Bodhiraj Foundation was able to assist differently able youth to overcome the barriers in finding jobs with their educational qualifications. So this is the important fact that they are not only focusing about on only the children who are able to do something, but who are unable and who are labeled by the society, and still helping such people, those whom we consider as the marginalized population. So helping them to move ahead and to reintegrate the society. So these are the 2 main categories that could be seen under the vocational training. And moving to discuss about the the special education. Under the special education, there are two types of services provided by them. There are two schools for children who have mentally and physically impaired. So for them, the formal education is being provided. And the other one, as I mentioned earlier, the special needs children's, this is called the Kalabala Bindu Center. This is mainly focusing on the hyperactive children. Somewhere about 60 to 70 children are currently getting the service in this particular place. The other significant fact that I would like to highlight here is that this is not located in the main foundations area. This is in southern province of the country. So it shows actually the foundation, this Bodhiraj Foundation tries to approach the other areas in the country, as well as it tries to identify who are the needy people in the other areas and approach them to be empowered. So this special education, when we visited these centers, we were able to see the practical sessions that they are using. So in this formal education system, they were using many practical sessions to integrate these children back to the society, which really appreciated. So these are the main identified 4 educational methods provided by the Bodhiraj Foundation. And then I would like to take this opportunity to discuss about the research conclusion. So I have categorized the research conclusions under a few categories. The first one I'm going to discuss is that community engagement and sense of belongingness. So through the activities actually done by the Bodhiraj Foundation towards the advancement of education, we were able to see that their community engagement is kind of really high, because Bodhiraj Foundation involves community members to all the activities they carried out. For an example, if I mention about this tree planting program, meditation program, parental worshipping program, Sila programs, and there are many other programs, like they were visiting remote areas, remote villages, and identify who are the vulnerable people and approaching them, visiting hospitals. So throughout all of these programs, what we could identify is that they not only do these programs with their children who are studying in their educational centers, or they're not only focusing Buddhist monks. Whatever the programs they are conducting in the community, they try to engage the youth in the community and other people in the community. So through that, they try to get the community engagement and the sense of belongingness they try to establish within their services. So the second category is that utilizing the resources in the community itself. This is again appreciable fact that we identified through our research. This actually implies that many qualified teachers, many qualified people are there, but without having job opportunities. So when we were discussing about professionals who are working in this Bodhiraj Foundation, we were able to identify that they are from that area itself, and Bodhiraj Foundation, they focus the opportunities to economically empower the people in that area itself. With regard to that, it could be seen that they are using the resources of their own village to provide the service to the village. So with that, they are inculcating the social values as well as they try to give the economic development as well. Moving to the other fact, the human dignity and worth. Through this, the preschool educational approaches, which I mentioned earlier as well, to outreach programs that they are conducting, as like tree plantation, identifying who are the vulnerable people and approaching them, visiting remote areas, and providing services for the differently able people, special needs children, youth who have who were not able, competent enough to go through with the government examinations. Such children, such youth, adolescents are being identified, uplift their human dignity and establish the worth, and also to reintegrate them back to the society. Many services are being conducted. And the other fact that I understood through the educational service is the networking. Even if we take preschools, Sunday schools, even meditation centers, they have network. They have a local network as well as an international network. For an example, they have International Cambodian Center. Even with Singapore, they have a kind of network. So rather working alone and limiting their services only to one community, they always try to reach the other communities where they find the needs are there, and they try to establish a kind of a relationship with them and provide better service. This strong network itself flourished the foundation. So that is kind of a significant fact that we identified. And moving to the other component, which is volunteering concept. This is again a appreciated task. We could see many educationalists, lay and non-lay educationalists, rather being limited to the monetary service, they're being committed to provide a voluntary service with the purpose of community upliftment. So, as the most venerable Omalpe Sobita Naikaparo mentioned, they are accountable for the work that they are being provided, they are being served. So, with regard to that, we could see that they have a volunteering concept that they provide the service to the community. And the other one, the economic empowerment through their educational activities. So, as I mentioned, youth unrest could be arise as a result of the economic deprivation or due to the social deprivation. But concerning on that, youth who are being left from the school education system, the foundation was able to introduce vocational development, vocational training for them. I mean, this sort of a programs are really ideal for the Sri Lanka's current situation as well. I mean, as we all aware, that Sri Lanka is in politically and economically kind of unstable situation. So with regard to that situation, these sort of empowerment programs are really ideal for the youth to be empowered and also to interact with the society. So the other highlight fact is that oppressive social work practice through their educational activities, it could be seen actually they have this anti-oppressive practice. They have accepted people and they provide the sympathetic joy. Even Dr. Venerable Omalpe Sobitathero also mentioned about that. They are accepting the vulnerable people, they are accepting the sexually abused children, they are accepting the marginalized population in the community and provide the services for them to be empowered. So examples what we could give or we have witnessed through our research activities at Kalabalabindu Special Education Center and even the Monk Training Center, they are providing the services for such people. If I take the vocational training center, that motto is no issue of employment when there is ability. So if I discuss about the differences between this international social work and Buddhist social work educational methods, in the international system, we could see that there are more formal education methods. Here we could see like more practical educational sessions with community engagement, knowledge and practice we could see. And in the international system, it's really systematic. Here we could see it's systematic as well as flexible. When we were discussing, when we were interviewing professionals of Bodhiraj foundations, we were able to identify they are providing a better service because of the flexible environment. And in the international system, we could see they are much more trained professionals. But here we could see that they are getting on-job training. Professional trainings are providing when they are providing the services. They have one a teacher training center for the early childhood education as well. So in the international system, that they are bound with professional code of ethics. And here we could see it is much more dedicated and accountable professionals for their duty. And in conclusion, I would like to highlight here contribution education by the Bodhiraja Foundation could be identified in four main categories, like Bhikkhu education, or rather Buddhist monk education, vocational training, special education, religious education, and formal education. So through all of these things, what we could say is that empowerment through community engagement and participation, they are catering all types of people in the community. And the educational techniques that they are using, which I mentioned earlier, educational techniques such as hospital visits, visiting remote areas, worshipping elders, tree planting, and engaging in other community and group activities. So through all of these activities, the techniques, educational techniques that they are using, we could see Bodhiraj Foundation's mission is to provide education to people by connecting them with the ecological system, Buddhist cultural values, as well as oppressed communities. So finally, as a suggestion, what I would like to highlight is that it could be suggested that for the advancement of the indigenous social work, more community-based practice, more community-based social work methods could be applied, and that will be a strong foundation for the advancement of the profession. So this is what we identify the Bodhiraj Foundation is being practiced. So they have a temple-based Buddhist philosophy. So through the temple-based Buddhist philosophy, they are connected as well as nature. And not only they connected, they are making community members also be connected with the other communities and also with the nature. Also, they have this holistic service perspective. Within that holistic service perspective, they're just not only providing educational support, or they're not only providing the religious support. They're concerning on social, educational, economic, spiritual, and political spheres as well. So, with regard to that, we could see if we really want to have ingenious method for the betterment of social education, this sort of practices could be suggested. So, with that note, I would like to wind up my presentation. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and sorry for the inconvenience of looking at myself.
Hashini, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your presentation. And I'm very sorry for interrupting you 2 or 3 times. However, still, until the end of your presentation, the sound, your voice was heavily distorted, so some fragments were lost. So it was very, very difficult and a little bit challenging for everyone to listen. And I'm very sorry for inconvenience, and it happens sometimes. I think it's the problem is somewhere inside your laptop, but or maybe in the internet connections. No one knows. So again, I would like to express my thanks to interpreters, because it was very challenging for them to translate to Japanese. And thank you for your understanding and for your patience. And again, very sorry for inconvenience. But still, using your slides with many details, it was very interesting to listen about the educational part of Bodhiraja Foundation's activities. So now I would like to invite Professor Zulkarnain Hatta from Malaysia, the former president of APASW, Asian Pacific Association for Social Work Education, to share some comments. Professor Hatta, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Joseph Sensei and the presenter, Ms. Hashini. And thank you for inviting me for this important occasion to give some comments. Since this is not my area it is my area of interest, of course, spirituality, Buddhism, any alternative to mainstream social work. However, to say that I can make knowledgeable comments on what has been presented, I would not take that assumption. So rather than doing that, can I pose questions rather than making comments which might not be appropriate? So is that okay, Joseph?
Of course it is.
Yeah, thank you so much. So the presentation was wonderful. I learned a lot from it, especially from the Buddhist point of view. The way I understood it is that this institution, Bodhi Raja, is all the education. I'm focusing on the education aspect, that there you have formal education, you have religious education, and a training vocational. So my question is that, or my assumption is that they are all extracted from the teachings of Buddhism, correct? So if that is the case, I would appreciate if there are more explanation on how it is being implemented, especially in the formal education, because otherwise I wouldn't be for lack of a better term, and to be polite about this, if formal education is simply going along the traditional way of mainstream education, and then will that be a duality between Buddhist religious education and formal education? Or do you in Islam, we have some institution in Malaysia and other places, they are trying to Islamize the education. So is there a trend in amongst the Buddhist community to Buddhistize the education? You know? So along the philosophy and tenets of Buddhism. So that is I suppose my main concern. Also, another thing is regarding the meditation. I find it very interesting that you are introducing meditation to all these kids. I assume that you are introducing to the kids, right? If that is the case, can you share a little bit what goes on through the meditation process? What are the details of the meditation? And what are the objectives or the consequence of that meditation upon their self, upon their psychic? Will that make them into a hopefully, of course, your intention is to make them into a sensitized human being. As you mentioned in your presentation, many things are disintegrating in society. So you are trying to inculcate wonderful values in them. You mentioned about cultural values, which again, I'm sure it is extracted from the teachings of Buddhism. So really, we want to know, my observation is that I would like to know how all of this is being infused in the teachings, in the education program, rather than simply saying that we have this, and we have that. That is, pretty much along the line of every education program in the world, be run by whatever institution. But since we want to differentiate Buddhism, Buddhist social work, and you term it international social work, we need to see a real difference rather than just cut and paste a little bit and say this is a Buddhist social work or Islamic social work by just the term. And the practice is pretty much international, so-called international practices. But just putting the label there, I'm sorry to say that I cannot see yet. Again, forgive me because I'm just listening this for the first time. Maybe there are papers that can explain this much more in detail. So to cut I don't have much time to go to talk more, but my bottom line here is that since all of these I assume are being extracted from the teachings of Buddhism, would be wonderful to know more about the impact of it on formal education. Or am I wrong in understanding that it is two separate things? Formal education is teaching them math and science, geography, whereas religious education is purely on Buddhism. Or can there be an element of Buddhism in mathematics, an element of Buddhism in history, and on and so forth? So that's where I'm getting at. So I think I better stop here now, Joseph.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your
Before I
question.
confuse myself.
It's actually very, very important, and I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Hashini, are you ready to answer? Perfect.
Yes, Professor. Am I audible enough?
Now your audio is much, much better. Yeah.
Okay, right. So thank you very much, Professor Hassan, for raising that question. Well, let me go one by one. The first question Professor asked about this formal education and the religious education. So with reference to the religious education, I would like to highlight here that was the Bodhiraj Dharmayatana monk training program. That is for the Buddhist monk. So this Buddhist monk, they have a training program. It's kind of a school. They are getting the formal education, in the sense the education provided by this institution. It's quite similar to the education provided by the formal government schools in Sri Lanka. So they have the same system like classes from grade 1 advanced level. Apart from that, their main subject is the general syllabus of the school education. They have language. They have like 5 more languages like Sinhala, Pali, Sanskrit, English, and Tamil as well. So the important fact is they are getting the formal education, religious education, as well as they are getting much more practical education. These through the outreach programs that they are conducting in these monk training centers, they are getting the opportunity to practice much more the education that they are getting in the classroom to be practiced in the community. So that is about the Buddhist monk training program, which is coming under religious education. And with regard to the second question you raised, Professor, about the formal education. So under formal education, they have two categories. They have early childhood education programs, as well as they have formal education for the children in the system like grade 1 advanced level. So in those education, in the formal education system, they get the same formal education which provided in the other formal education school in Sri Lanka. So it's quite similar. But the difference and the significant fact is, even though they get the formal education, as you mentioned, yes, of course, they learn mathematics, English, and geography, all of these things, as well as they get more religious philosophy as well. Rather mentioning religious philosophy, the Buddhist philosophy, for an example, to worship to the parents and to be integrated with the society, to identify the needy people, respect the elders, and to be with the nature. So such sort of practices that they are getting to this. And with regard to the question you raised about the meditation, that I mentioned actually about this monk training program. In the monk training, for this Buddhist monks who are getting the training, and in their centers they get this meditation program. Did I answer your question, no, Professor? So am I audible enough?
Thank you very much. I have a better understanding now. Thank you.
Okay,
and I look forward for the full report.
Yeah, I can see that Demberl from Mongolia is raising his hand. So please go ahead with your question. And
I would
Ashni,
like to.
before, sorry for interrupting you. Ashni, still we got issues with your audio, with your microphone. Sometimes it's good, sometimes not. Some fragments are completely lost. Probably something wrong with your internal within your internal microphone, or something wrong with the connection. I don't know. Actually, uh, I uh, I'd like to ask you to speak a little bit slowly and as close as possible to your microphone. Still, it's very challenging to listen to. So I'm sorry, Demerol. Go ahead
Hello.
with your.
Thank you for organizing the online conference. I would like also thank my gratitude to the presenter from Sri Lanka. I would like to ask one question about this special education. How special education uh, they give the self dignity, self human value to the participants, and how it contributes to socially engaged the active member of the Sri Lankan society, the particular society. Can you hear me, Hashmi? Would you answer it for me?
Yeah. Can I go ahead? Am I audible enough?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. So again, I'm sorry for the inconvenience. For the question raised by Mongolian professor, so how these equality, social justice, human worth have been promoted, and how it's helping.
Please, could you repeat it again? This part is completely lost. It's like going up and down, up and down. We can hear you, and in the next moment we can't hear you at all.
Okay, professor.
No,
So
it's
yes, so the question. So for an example, if I take this vocational training provided by the Buddhist Foundation, they identify these people in society. Example is children or the youth who are unable to go through with government examinations. In other words, who fail the examinations, they are left from the schools. So they could be labeled and they could be cornered from the society. So for them to be economically empowered, socially empowered, as well as to reintegrate the society, this foundation is helping. First, as even Reverend Omar Sobita Naikapero mentioned, they accept them and they're giving them the opportunity to be trained, and they're giving the opportunity for these people to practice and then helping them to reintegrate. So with the acceptance, identifying needy people, making them integrated to the society in such a way, they are helping them to re-establish themselves as a holistic person, or rather holistic personality in society.
Yes, yes, Hasid.
Connect that from my phone. Yeah, maybe.
Venerable Malpes Mananda, could you
Yeah,
provide
yes, the
additional
comments
comments?
to the question. Yeah, actually, in the Bodhiraja Foundations, they are conducting many programs for the vocational training and special education. And according to the presentations of Omar Sobita, Tero has mentioned the one principle in social work we call acceptance. And always the organizations are welcoming to the disabled people to the organization. And in Sri Lanka, the major problem is school dropout children. And we have the level or ordinary level and advanced level. Most probably after the ordinary level, students are drop out in school. So that the Bodhiraja Foundation has started some vocational training program for them, and it is the poor and disabled person. They can come and attend the uh, their different courses are they are conducting, and special things. The foundation has provided transportation systems. They have the vehicle and buses, and they will send early morning to the village, and they will bring to the temple in the free, and they are providing the transportation, and after the class they are again sent to the their place. And many social engagement programs they are conducting for the lunch. They are providing foods and the drinking and facilities, and they for the special need education systems. And these are the some brief summary which we had seen the area where we visit to the data collection.
Very much. Demerol,
Thank you.
I mean, your question.
Thank you for reply and answer.
I mean, probably. Okay. So, anyone else? If possible, I'd like other. I mean, participants to ask. But I got.
So,
Yeah. No, please go ahead.
I'm Shamila, originally from Sri Lanka, but now I am in US for my PhD. So, I was really interested to really know about this Buddhist social work, how we are going to define the Buddhist social work as I forgot his name, who gave the feedback of this presentation, that how we are going to distinguish between international social work and Buddhist social work, because it seems like again we are confusing with social welfare and social work. So we know social work is something different when we were, defining social welfare, social service, and social work. So I think to define Buddhist social work, we have to work further. And I agree, some of the literature I read it in Thailand and those who are really a Buddhist countries, they are teaching Buddhist-based social work. So their philosophy is founded in Buddhism. But when it comes to Sri Lanka, we teach all the religious base, how all the religions are contributing the base of social work as a philosophy. So I was wondering how we, as he said, picking from the social work principle says like this, but Buddha also says like this. So this is Buddhist social work. So I think in that way we can't define. So actually what we are trying to define, that's what I was wondering, because even Kashi in last slides were comparing international social work and Buddhist social work. So it actually I see it as Buddhist welfare, concept of welfare. So what is actually social work? And so that I want to really clear that dilemma. So because we are trying to, I understand, we are trying to indigenize social work in Asia. So I feel like it's indigenization go beyond the religion, because social work is combination of other social disciplines. So it's itself interdisciplinary. So there are psychology, sociology, and things like that. So how we are defining? So in this context, so that is my question, or that is my doubt. Really, I wanted to know what is the intention of these researchers in Asian countries, Sri Lanka and Thailand, this country, and actually what we are trying to do and things like that. Yeah, thank you. it's general, not to Kashi Silva. No, it's in general. Yeah.
Questions. Thank you very much for raising a very important question. Just distinguishing between social welfare and social work is very crucial. And I'm afraid that the definition of social welfare or social work and the way how social work is being educated and is being practiced differs from country to country. So sometimes it's very challenging to say this is social work and this is Buddhist social work. However, as mentioned in during the opening session, after 5 years, almost 5 years of joint research projects, we were able to develop working definition of Buddhist social work. Maybe because this session is basically focused on education. Maybe in the closing session there is I hope enough time. I'm sorry. That's okay. Maybe we can discuss more, as you said, because it's a general question, but very important question.
Yes.
Anyone? Yeah.
Yeah. Since can I use a brief
please go ahead.
answer? Yeah. And yes, thank you very much for the questions. And yes, we are also struggling to define to what is exact Buddhist social work. Even the power cut has. Can you hear, Sensei?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. And even we are also struggling to define what is professional social work. What I understood that Buddhist social work, we can understood in very similar concept in Western social work. It is very similar concept. And according to the Professor Tatsuro Akimoto, what is Buddhist social work? His answer is what the activities we are doing in the temple-based activity, it is similar to Buddhist social work. And whatever we are doing, many activities related to based in the temple, it is up to now we should to understand it is the Buddhist social work. But many authors and many researchers are questioning his definition because what activity exactly? What is the difference between social welfare and social work activities? Because we are doing many similar activities in social welfare activities. And so that we should to understand very clearly what is the difference between social welfare activities and social work activity. There are debates are going on. In Buddhist social work is very young and only 7 years old baby. In many questions, many arguments now has income already started is very good because while having educational discussion, debates, and it will improve in the future. Now there has come in the platform to the developing process. Thank you very much. The question.
Thank you very much. Oh, good. Thank you for the reaction, Shamila. Thank you. And I would like to ask you to keep this this question, very important question, in mind, because 1 hour schedule for the session 2 education is already over. So from now on, we will have a break, a coffee break, just for 15 minutes. And after that, the last session, session number 3, focus on practice. We'll start with Ms. Ishari Udeshika Gurante's presentation. And after that, I hope we can go back to this important question, which is actually the goal mission of this research project, to challenge, to ask again what Buddhist social work is. And as Professor Hatta mentioned, we need more details, how it works, how it is implemented, how it's different from other kinds of social work and social welfare. So please stay with us and take a rest for a couple of minutes, and please return back in front of your PC in just 12-13 minutes. We will start from 5 p.m. in Japan and 1:30 p.m. in Sri Lanka. So please be sure to be back again in front of your PC. Thank you very much, Hashini, again for your presentation. I know it's very challenging right now in Sri Lanka. I know that the situation is very complicated. So thank you very much. Thank you very much all, and see you soon.